That's why Whole Foods can put all that stuff out, all nice and fresh. You lose.
Well, you just mentioned what you're talking about is the reason the Republican Party isn't winning national elections. I spoke at CPAC a month ago, and I said, it isn't that we have to change our views. Stop it. I want to slap you guys around. No. It's that you need people who can sell our views with enthusiasm and passion, and also simply at an 8th grade level explain why capitalism is the greatest thing that's ever been invented, and that all those poor people are going to live lives of misery. That you wouldn't have solved polio without someone being greedy and saying, if I solve polio, I'm going to make $1 billion. You won't solve AIDS. That's what I was about to say. You will not solve AIDS. You will not solve cancer without offering people lots of money if they come up with the discovery. And someone like me, I'm just in a, I don't even like golf, okay? I can't watch golf. I can't play golf. I hate it. But I sat yesterday on the airplane flying here watching the Golf Channel because I was fascinated. I love people who are great at what they do. That's why I call myself capitalist evangelist. And I watched Brad Scott win the Masters. When he pumped his fist, I was so happy for him. And that's an example of greatness. And that's what we need to celebrate in America. And I have a story up at Fox News right now, a story called Lessons from My Blue-Collar Butcher Father. And my dad was a butcher, and he always said to me, I'd love to hate rich people, but I've never gotten a job from a poor person. That's what my dad said.
And you don't sell filet mignons to poor people.
And that was the other thing. So I said this story. When I was growing up, instead of hating rich people, my dad said, well, son, all of my customers are rich people because we sell the highest cuts of beef like filet mignon and prime rib. My customers are rich, and someday, is what my dad knew when I was a little kid, someday you're going to Columbia University. You're not going to be a butcher like me. You're going to graduate from Columbia. That was his goal because that was the only Ivy League school he knew. And guess who's going to get you into Columbia? One of my rich customers is going to write a letter of recommendation for you because the people that buy my meat are very rich and powerful, and I can't get you into Columbia. And sure enough, my dad went from being a minimum wage butcher to owning his own butcher store to making a little bit of money on those rich customers. And eventually I went to Columbia University and my sister went to Columbia University. 2 for 2 from a blue-collar butcher with recommendation letters from the filthy rich people that were his customers who he asked, and they said, I'll help your children. That's fantastic. This is what America's about. And I'm afraid that we've lost it. That 40 years ago, my dad saw a Cadillac in the street and he held my hand and he said, son, that's going to be you someday. And it is. I'm a self-made millionaire. But today, the same blue-collar father holding his son's hand sees the same car and says to his son, that man's probably a cheater on taxes. That man's a criminal. That man doesn't deserve his car. Your father should have that car, but he doesn't because the world's unfair. And that kid is never going to have the chance to own that car like I did, because instead of celebrating wealth and telling his kid that's going to be you and giving him inspiration, he's poisoning that kid's mind. That's what Obama's created. Class warfare. He's made everyone in America who isn't rich hate the Wayne Roots of the world, who I started with nothing, and I'm rich because I worked my butt off and risked my own money. How about that? It took 20 years to get overnight success. That's why I'm rich. And guess what? I deserve my money. And I deserve to wake up in the morning and use that money to give to charity, not to give to Barack Obama, and to leave to my children, not to leave to people I don't know. And until we change that mantra, until you find candidates that can sell that in a way that gets a Cuban immigrant and an African immigrant or a Haitian immigrant to understand that their kids have a chance to have more than they do only in a free society with democracy and with, most importantly, capitalism and individualism and entrepreneurship. Until you get that across, we won't make it. That's why I wrote the Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. It shows anyone how to get rich in a capitalist society, in a free market society, to beat Obama at his own game. In the end, here's how I'll sum it up. First, get mad, then get even.
Okay, I gotta leave it there. We went very, very long. Wayne Allen Root, rootforamerica.com. You can get the book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, How to Survive, Thrive, and Prosper During Obamageddon. You can get it at Amazon.com. Thanks for joining us. It is tax day, the happiest day in the year for liberal progressives. Sirius XM Patriot.
A gathering place for great Americans.
Absolutely, you can cut less than 3% without all these awful consequences, without people losing access to critical vaccines, without us jeopardizing food inspections, without all these awful, without howling out the military. Certainly, you can make these reductions without those consequences.
This is Sirius XM Patriot 125.